Well, Bucks McGee. So far, you have done an impeccable job at keeping your impartiality on display. But this show, sir, you get to let your freak flag fly. It's NFC South time.
Oh, yeah. The most underrated division in all of football.
Underrated. It's only had the same division champ for the last 3 years running.
Hey, greatness is what it is.
So we have to, as usual, start coming off of last year. So we did have a tie atop the division.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa 9-8, New Orleans 9-8. By virtue of the tiebreaker, the Bucks came out. Atlanta rebuild didn't get off to quite the start they hoped for, at finishing at 7-10. And then the Carolina Panthers, you could argue the rebuild never really started with a whole 2 wins. So, what was your overall impression about this division upon the end of last season?
This division was, let's be honest, this division was definitely in flux. There were 4 new quarterbacks. You know, Brady moves on, Baker comes in. The Saints, everyone was ready to anoint them, division winners, possible Super Bowl contenders with, the addition of Mr. Carr, and we saw how that turned out. Falcons, talent was there, but you could say, a lot of issues with the coaching, bad decisions, and such of that nature led to the 7-10. And then the Panthers were just, like you said, the rebuild never happened. There was no offensive line. The questions about Bryce Young, his height, how it would translate into the next level were definitely brought up. So it was a rough year for the NFC South, but when you win the division, you win the division. Doesn't matter. As long as you get to the dance, that's what counts.
You could almost say that New Orleans had personnel issues. Um, Atlanta had staffing issues, and then Carolina just had all the issues, and Tampa Bay was, in a certain sense, just the last man standing.
Very true, very true. Once the GOAT moves on, and you've got to figure out who's going to be the quarterback. It was, there were questions going into training camp. Was it going to be Trask? Was it going to be Baker? Baker pulls it out and has probably his best season as a pro.
How much is continuity worth, as it pertains to Tampa being able to outlast the rest of the teams last year, and then going into this year with across all teams? How much is continuity worth?
I think it's key. I think it's really important. Atlanta, you got Kirk Cousins. This is, again, another situation when people are like, oh, the Falcons with all this talent, they could be a Super Bowl contender, this and that. But let's be honest, people really need to look. Kirk came from Minnesota, and Minnesota had a ton of talent. And how many playoff wins did he have? It wasn't like he had a bad defense or anything. He just wasn't able to win the big ones. So before everyone wants to anoint, Atlanta, he's got to get used to what he's got. You got to make sure that he's coming back off the injury well. This offense could be explosive. There's no doubt there's talent, but will they gel? The Saints, they're a hodgepodge. Like, honestly, they're not what they used to be. And I think people are still holding on to the old Drew Brees days. That's not what you have. So they've got to figure it out. And the Panthers are just a continued rebuild.
Yeah, I guess that was a weird tee up with continuity when you have one team that was completely injury ravaged, another team that changed their quarterback, and then another team that maintains their quarterback but changed their coach.
Yeah. Continuity was not the key word in the NFC South last year, for sure. Not at all.
So we'll kick this off with we'll get your fanhood out of the way first, because the Bucks are reigning champs. And how did you put it last year? Back to back to back.
That's right. And if people continually don't want to give this team any kind of credit or any kind of chance, that's fine. I think Tampa's a team that just doesn't care. They just care about who's in that room, and it's what it's going to be. They're going to go out there and play hard every week. So let's get it going. Your division champion.
Interestingly enough, you have them spotted at 4-2 going into our picks. So we have them kicking off the season with a home victory against Washington and an instant test right off the bat from there on the road against the Lions.
I really like the Lions. I really do. This is going to be interesting. Like I said, I have to be impartial and such. I'll give the Lions the win, of course. I'll give them the win. Yeah. We played them well in the playoffs. It wasn't a blowout or anything. We played them well last year in the playoffs. So it's just going to be one of those things where, if they start out slow, Tampa could steal one, but I think I'll give them Detroit the win there.
Yeah, that's a tough spot early on. Like maybe if you catch them later in the season, that's one thing. As maybe they kind of have the division locked up and you catch them in a trap game. But week two is a bit of a tough one.
It is, but it's also a situation of the Lions now have to put up or shut up. The whole they're lucky to be there. The feel good story of Detroit is over. If they don't make it to a conference championship, then it's a failure for that team. There's no doubt about it.
Conference, I'd almost say Super Bowl.
True, but it's one of those things where if you're a team and you can consistently hit that, at least your conference championship, then you're held elite. Ask Dallas. When's the last time Dallas sniffed that? They, let's be honest, they get into the playoffs and everyone's like, "Oh, here we go," and then they just bottom out. So,
yeah, they're coming up. They're coming up on 30 years since their last Super Bowl appearance. Well, win, but appearance as well. The next one, you're back home, and thank goodness this is only week 3 because you don't have to pick against our fan favorite Ben DiNucci.
Ben DiNucci! Shout out to Big Ben.
We're gonna look so bad, by the way, if he gets cut, but we're true. We're true. We were there. We were there preseason in the hotel room watching Ben DiNucci. Nothing but love. Yeah, I'm taking that. I'm taking that win. I think that's a legitimate win. I don't know. What do you think? If it's the MILF Hunter under center, I now the thing about Denver, and we'll dig apart Denver later this week. But the funny part about Denver is to me is like if the MILF Hunter comes out and is successful, then it's gonna look like such a gigantic egg on the face of the New York Jets. The fan base, the front office, the coaching staff. If he can have so many years under multiple regimes in New York, not have any success, and then go out to Denver, coming off of the disaster that was the Let's Ride experiment, and have success out there. I can't wait to see who has egg on their face.
It's at that point, it's the Jets from the coaching staff on up. At that point, then do you just tear it down again? Because Saleh was supposed to be the guy, and we thought he was, he started out strong, but there were still questions when they drafted, Wilson, that high, but everyone was ready to give the Jets that chance, and they've turned a new leaf and this and that, and now look, maybe this is what Wilson needs. No expectations, just go out there and play ball, and he turns it around.
In any event, no dice in week 3 against the Bucs.
No, sorry, no, not happening.
You do have them taking one on the nose in week 4 at home against the Eagles. So a 2-2 start. You feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. 2-2. It's 500 ball.
Now, mind you, that 2-2 start goes into a short week on the road Thursday night against the Falcons, the first Kirk Cousins matchup.
And unfortunately, Kirk gets to learn the realization. Life is not all pretty on the other, that grass is greener on the other side, whatever you want to call it. Nope. The Bucs know that they got to handle business in the division. So, nope. It could be an entertaining game, but no, Kurt falls.
I could ask you right off the bat, but it's only a few weeks later for the rematch, so we'll wait. Do you think Kirk isn't well? Okay, we'll wait until we get to our Falcon. We'll have a little Falcons discussion later. We'll wait. All right, 3-2. Your first. Oh, I know you love this one. Your first of two matchup against your very hated New Orleans Saints. This one's on the road. Obviously, the previous game was on Thursday, so this is a little extra rest.
Oh, yeah, we're taking no. Saints are done. Saints are done. No, Saints are done. No. Like, okay, fine, we're playing in the dome, whatever, this and that, but they are not what they used to be. Michael Thomas is pretty much gone, done. This team is not it. We don't even know if Kamara is going to play. He's crying about his contract. That defense is old. Lattimore could end up not playing or being traded. There's been talk of that. This team is not what it used to be. Nope, we go in there and just handle business.
That's crazy that he's crying about a contract. He can't even stay on the field, whether it's for health-related issues or getting arrested.
But that's the thing. Like, mind you, Kamara, and it's kind of weird to say in his prime, but he's been around for a bit. At his best, unbelievable talent. Now it's okay. Are you just okay now? Are you not that dynamic player? Yeah, he's solid, but he's not what he used to be.
Next one, we have you taking one on the chin with a little extra rest, going back home to face the Ravens and taking the L. So that is 4-3. 4-3 coming into the other Falcons game. You're back at home. You feeling a split, or are you confident enough to call the sweep?
I'm going out on a limb. I'll call the sweep.
Wow.
I will call the sweep.
So you really are not high on this Atlanta Falcons.
I think they've got talent, but honestly, everyone is just Kirk Cousins is great. They make him sound like he is elite top 5 quarterback in the league, and he's not. He's not. He's solid, but he had this talent in Minnesota. I don't understand. They make it sound like he was devoid of talent in Minnesota, and now he's coming to Atlanta, and this is where he'll truly find his greatness. He had Jay Jettas, had Cook at running back, had a quality defense.
Tight end Hawkinson.
He's had tons of talent there. So what makes it so much different now? Is Raheem Morris that much of a great coach?
Hey, Tampa,
Yeah, you saw that turned out.
Before your Tampa days.
But you saw that turned out. Like, all of a sudden, everyone's ready to hand Atlanta, the division and all of this. They haven't even had a preseason game together. So nope, they've got to prove it to me. So I will take the hit, and I will call the sweep.
Okay. The funny part about that is a lot of what is on Atlanta is on potential, because Pitts has not been of his full potential. London has not been of his full potential. Obviously, Bijan was only 1 year and was largely misused. So the high on Atlanta is a lot of young talent that's there, but not a lot of talent that's produced overall up here.
And they have to win now. They can't say, 3 years from now we're going to be great, because at that point Kurt is gone and you don't know what you've got with Penix.
No, that's your Kirk window. It's like 3 years.
If he stays healthy. Healthy.
Yeah, you're right. They hedged their bets with Penix. All right, here's a big one. Fortunately, you do get a little bit of extra rest because it is a Monday nighter on the road to Arrowhead.
Oof. I always give respect to the champ, so I think it's gonna be an entertaining game. I don't know what Kansas City's gonna be like. Like, I'm really intrigued to see what comes out of there offensively. But I'll give the champs the win. Champs the win.
Well, what do you think, based off of last year and what they've done in the offseason, what do you think is the most challenging aspect of the Chiefs for Tampa to defend? Is it Mahomes in the passing offense? Is it Pacheco? What's going on there?
I honestly, here's the deal. Pacheco, I think you honestly have to hold Pacheco. I think he's the key to that offense. I really do. I think the kid is incredible. They're going to run him into the ground, though. at the rate they run them. Like, they really need to make sure that they give that guy some breaks when they can. It's all going to come to the wide receivers. Worthy from Texas, is he going to be legit? Is he going to be able to burn like everybody's talking about? Is he the second coming of Tyreek Hill? Or is he going to be one of these receivers who's got a ton of speed but just never materializes? And then you got Hollywood Brown. He couldn't do it really with Lamar. Yeah, now you've got Patrick Mahomes. Like, this is your chance. If you can't get this right, then just forget about it. And then there's always the X factor, Kelsey. If he's on top of his game, they're tough. But he's a year, Taylor Swift, whatever. He's a year. We're not doing this right now. We're not doing this. Travis is a year older. This is going to be interesting what this team is offensively.
Do you think, especially since they let go Shaq Barrett, do you think the Pacheco matchup is the one that could expose Tampa in this matchup? Because the run defense, which was the strength last year and in years past, now maybe is a question mark.
No, I think with Kancey, Logan Hall really needs to step up. I still think that line and those linebackers are talented. KJ Britt, I think, is solid. He outplayed Devin White the second half of the year. That's why they let Devin White walk. Devin White decided to bet on himself and go to Philly on a 1-year deal, and hopefully it turns out well for him. But no, I think with the sum of the parts, I think Tampa plays a great defense as a whole. And don't forget, you got Antoine Winfield, best safety in the game. So I'm not worried about that.
Your man's.
Antoine. Woo!
Now, the next one, very interesting scenario we have here, because you had them pulling the upset against the San Francisco 49ers. This is on a short week, early 1 o'clock start. You're still feeling good about calling the upset over the Niners?
Yeah, I am. I don't like Niners are talented, but I don't know what. It's hard. I think there's a little bit of turmoil in there. No one knows if Ayuk is going to be there. Like, now he's saying, oh, I want to be there. I want to be there. Brock Purdy needs to be the guy this year. Like, the whole, he was young and, he had a great team around him, so they were able to carry him. That's over. He needs to deliver. He needs to become an elite quarterback and lead this team. So I don't know if he's there. Really don't.
What's the Bucs defensive strategy to contain the offense? Is their biggest challenge going to be Kittle, going to be Debo, going to be Ayuk, going to be McCaffrey?
I think McCaffrey makes that offense run. Let's be honest. If you had a lesser running back in that position, the Niners aren't as dangerous. Let's be realistic. Like, if Jonah Gray was playing back in the day, and he was playing, you had to deal with the 4 touchdowns. I can't do anything for you. But he did nothing for the rest of the year. If you threw him in that Niners offense, you wouldn't do anything. It's one of those things where I feel if you can at least hold McCaffrey, like, he's gonna get his touches, he's gonna score. Like, you can't shut him down. But if you can slow him down, I think Tampa has the speed on defense to make some things happen and uncomfortable.
Let's say they can contain him, maybe not shut him down, but contain him. Which receiving option is the most threat to the Tampa defense?
Honestly,
Kibble, Debo, Ayuk.
I think it's Ayuk. I think after last year, Ayuk really showed that he's an elite receiver. Debo, now he's starting to get hurt a little more nicked up, a little more consistently. Same thing with Kittle. Like, when Kittle's on, he's great, but they don't go to him enough. So it's one of those things where Kittle shows up offensively like in a blowout. Like, it's not like, oh man, it's 3rd and 3 and they're looking for Kittle. I don't get that feeling from that offense. So Ayuk to me is the guy.
Fantasy owners beware. A little concerned about the Bucs corners, are you? A deep threat? Picking the deep threat of the 3?
Some people would say, yeah, with Carlton Davis, getting traded and all, but I like the corners. They're young. They're going to make some mistakes. There's no doubt about it. They'll make some mistakes, but I think with Winfield back there, he'll be able to, sit there, control everything. Plus, Jordan Whitehead is back, and he was great during that Super Bowl run. So I think that adds to it. That adds to that defense.
How do you feel going into a Week 11 bye at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 4?
6-4. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with 6-4.
Do you think now? Obviously, the 6-4 looks a lot better with a potential sweep over the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
But do you kind of foresee that being keeping up with the Joneses in this division, or maybe kind of struggling a little bit? A good 6-4 versus a bad 6-4, if you will.
No, I think it's one of those. It's like this is, at this point, 6-4, 10 games, you got 7 to go. This is where the push happens, and it could end up being, 8-2, 7-3. To me, optimal would be 7-3. If they at this point end up being 7-3, and I'm wrong on one of those games, then I think they're perfect.
You're dancing around.
I'm dancing 7-3. I think, like everyone thinks that this team is like a bunch of hodgepodge, no talent guys that somehow pulled it out. You have Mike Evans, who literally is going to be a Hall of Famer. If he decided to retire today, he's a Hall of Famer, and no one's going to take that away from him. Chris Godwin, they got away from him a bit last year. He's going back to the slot, his natural position. I think he's going to end up being great. The thing that I worry about on the offense is I think the tight ends need to deliver a little more. I think if the tight ends can show out a little bit more, that's going to help Baker, especially when Baker, scrambles. And I think that's going to really help him out. But no, 6-4, I think it's solid. Like if, who they've played so far, that this is a tough schedule. So if I can go 6-4, then I feel confident going in the last 7 games.
Coming out of the bye week, we have you taking a win on the road in the Big Apple against the Giants.
Next, keep it moving.
You might want to keep it moving even further after that because it is the first matchup against the Panthers. This one's on the road. This is a late Sunday afternoon start.
Oh, Dave Canales shouldn't have left. I love you, Dave. Love you, Dave. Actually, was lucky enough to meet the guy, but yeah, you're getting smacked. Nope, we're not playing this. Nope, sorry. Give me that.
Interesting. Next up, this is obviously we're getting late into the season, so the Raiders could look a little different at this point versus getting them early, but at home against the Raiders.
We're beating the Raiders. At that point, it could be a quarterback switch because we don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Like everyone thinks it's going to be not my man, Uncle Rico. I'd love Rico to start, but I don't think it's going to be Rico. I think it's going to be Aiden. I think that guy I think he's going to end up being the starter. But if he falters enough, you could see Uncle Rico, stepping up and taking over. So I think there'll be a little confusion there at the quarterback spot, and we can go ahead and do what we got to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, speaking of continuity, you talk about a team with a quarterback that knows the coach, knows the system. It's certainly Edge O'Connell, even though it's debatable whether or not he's the better quarterback of the two. But, familiarity does at times breed success.
They'll steal a win here and there for sure for their, their division. But, it's one of those things where I just feel they don't have enough offensively, and losing Josh Jacobs, I think, really hurts them.
I'm interested to see if you're going to call them due for a slip-up right now because Tampa will go on the road next to the Chargers, Jim Harbaugh.
Chargers. Nope. No? I like us against the Chargers. No, because I don't know what the Chargers are. They're going to be more of a run-heavy team. It's not the Chargers of a couple of years ago with this great offense. Mike Williams is gone. Keenan Allen is gone. So, what is this offense? Is it going to be a ground and pound and all of a sudden, you've taken Herbie and, instead of throwing for 4,800, he's throwing just over 4. Are they going to really concentrate on the run? I think that team is in transition. I think that defense is still going to be solid for them, but no, I could see us beating them.
Well, that's very interesting because here is yet another upset. You have the Bucs pulling on the road and Sunday night against the Cowboys. Obviously a December game, which is sometimes the house of horrors for the Cowboys. So you have them 5 straight wins after the bye week.
I told you this team's going to be good. Don't doubt me. Keep it rolling.
Bucs McGee, I repeat, let your freak flag fly.
That's right. It's about, yes, let me get my freak on.
And to close out the season, back-to-back divisional home games, early start against the Panthers, and then TBD, obviously, against the Saints.
All right.
Oh, look at this.
Telling you, y'all disrespecting my man. Y'all disrespecting my man here. So, Panthers sweep. Calling a sweep on the Panthers. I think this one will be close. I think the Panthers will start to grow. Canales I think he's going to be a solid coach. I think he's going to be able to work with Young. I think, they'll be a little better, but nope. At this point, we're priming for playoffs. Nope, they get smacked. And then who am I ending with?
Your favorite, the Saints.
It's a family show. You know what? I'll take the hiccup. I'll take a hiccup here. Last game of the season, I'll take a hiccup.
Take the L at the end.
I'll take the L. I can't, have us win it like 8 in a row like that. I'll take the hiccup there.
This will be very interesting to total up New Orleans records. All right, what do we got here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 5.
There we go. 12 and 5. I like it. 12 and 5. Now, go ahead.
I mean, how do you feel? You always do a ±2. Do you feel on a good side they're good enough for 14 wins? And on the bad side, do you think 10 wins is still enough to get out of this division?
I think 14 wins nowadays, the way this league is set up, is really tough.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you really have to have like the perfect storm. So no, I don't. I wouldn't want 14 wins. I'd rather have a couple less losses, because I think at that point, if you're going to make the playoffs, you're coming in. You got your teeth kicked in a couple of times. I think teams need to do that. So I'm fine with 12. 14 I'm a little skittish about, because at that point you're thinking, oh yeah, that's it, it's our time. I don't want to think that. I like that little bit of adversity. So 12 is perfect for me,
especially when the schedule makers are at times high on the doob.
yeah, they need to check those guys out.
So, sir, are you ready to go through the Saints schedule?
Oh yeah, let's tear these boys up. No more
chef hat. Oh, I was hoping for the chef hat.
I wore it for the total win-loss record. I don't want to soil that talking about these Falcons. Let's go. Let's keep them rocking.
Well, that's the interesting point, because you would think just based on the offseason and hype, we would do the Falcons next, but we do have to pay respect to the season standings. So,
yeah, that's true. Jeez. All right, fine, whatever. Let's get this done. 5 and 13, 5 and 12. Next, yes. Let's move on. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Saints kick it off at home against the Panthers.
All right. Oh wow.
A team you hate versus a team that
I'm like okay with. Wow. I think you know what? You want to pick an upset for week 1? Here it is. You take the Panthers. I think the Panthers might come out trying to prove something. Try to tell Big Brother, hey, we're here, we're legit. I'm gonna take the Panthers
on the road, no less. And very interesting way to start, because based on our previous shows, we have them taking an L on the road to the Cowboys and back at home to Philly. So the Saints starting off 0-3. And are you going to do a little happy dance exposing your oft-hated Saints?
It will. I will enjoy my adult beverages a little more each week. For sure.
That following that 0-3 start, there's their first Falcons game. This one's on the road.
It's the Falcons. All right, they've got to be able to pull something out. So I'll give them the win against the Falcons.
The Saints. Okay, Saints win.
Yeah, Saints win.
Falcons are not off to a good divisional schedule so far.
No, Kirk gonna learn today.
Extra rest for the Saints on the road Monday night in Arrowhead.
Next. Yeah, that's just like that. I'm done at halftime.
Your first Bucs loss here, and then a short week at home against the Broncos on Thursday.
They should be able to beat the Broncos. If they can't beat the Broncos, forget it. That's a hot mess.
Still too early for Ben DiNucci?
It might still be a little early, but be a little early.
I said when the week comes, when he's under center.
That's it, man. It's Danucci all day.
All right, back-to-back road games here. We got a late after. Well, I guess it would be an early local start on the road against the Chargers, and then back to the East Coast on the road for the second Panthers game.
Wow. Like, I just don't know what the Chargers are going to be. Like,
This is like the ultimate, what do you get in this game? Like
yeah.
Which lack of faith do you have more faith in?
I'll give the Saints the win.
Okay.
I'll give the Saints the win.
And then for your second Panthers game, this one's on the road.
They'll split. They'll take the Panthers. They'll split.
Okay.
The Panthers aren't beating anybody, taking a season series. That's not happening.
Can you imagine?
If that happens, then that's it. That's it. The Saints are done.
Second Falcons game. What you got? This one's at home for the Saints.
Falcons come back and handle business.
Yeah. And we previously had the Saints taking the dub at home against the Browns. This heads into the bye week. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 and 6. Well, we had 6. We had 6 and 4 for the Bucs going into the bye. 5 and 6 for the Saints. Good 5 and 6. Bad 5 and 6.
It's a bad 5 and 6. This is a bad team.
Well, if it's to that point, this is a bad team. 5 and 6 probably doesn't look too shabby.
It probably doesn't, but for the hype that this team had last year, you would still think that they would feel that the talent is enough where they should be at 6 and 4.
You are going to hold them to the fire for last year till David Carr's career is in the tombstone, aren't you?
Oh, you have no idea. No idea. Kirk Cousins this is what Kirk's going to get. When they sit there and just hand you the division because you just came over and swapped jerseys, this is what you get. That's what you get.
Out of the bye, a loss at home to the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And then, get this, Bucs McGee picked them for back-to-back wins on the road against the Giants, at home against Washington.
Yeah, they should be good enough to beat them. Because at that point, like I said, with the Giants, we don't even know if Carr's going to play. I mean, if what's his name's going to even play. We don't know if Danny Dimes is going to be good to go. And then what's the next game?
Washington.
Washington's still learning. I think they'll be competitive at that point, but I think the veteran leadership of the Saints pulls it out.
Next one's an interesting. They have extra rest. It's a Monday nighter. It is on the road up in Lambeau.
Oh, yeah. Forget that. It's a love fest all the way. It's not going to be pretty.
Do you like the Saints defense or not?
I don't. Here's the thing. I think now the age will start to show. There's been, like I said, there was a talk of Lattimore getting traded. So besides Lattimore in that secondary, everyone else is Cam Jordan is on the other side. He talks a great game and, he'll badmouth the Bucs to the ends of the earth, but he hasn't done anything in years. They've got a couple decent guys at linebacker. Demario Davis is still solid, but I don't think this defense is as elite as it was, let's say, 3-4 years ago when they were really good. So they're a solid unit, but I'm not scared of them. I'm not scared. Oh man, I'm playing the Saints.
Well, but by this point you've already played. You've already played one. You got one obviously close the season. But how do you like the defense against other teams? Because the Packers have, a decent offense, a little injury prone, young quarterback still. Like, how do you like that defense against the field?
I think their wide receivers are too much for that secondary. And I think, their run game is still solid. Their run game is going to keep the Saints honest. And Love can hit all the throws. So no, I just don't think they have enough answers for that offense.
Next one up, home finale Derek Carr maybe a little revenge here because they are hosting Vegas.
Ooh. Wow, this game would definitely have more spice if McDaniels was still coaching for sure. Yeah, I think the Saints pull it out.
Saints will take it. Okay.
It's going to be I think it'll be an ugly game, but I think somehow the Saints will pull it out.
And that leads us into the final victory against Tampa. So just looking at eyeballing it, maybe that's just a letdown. Bucs don't care at that point because we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 back-to-back 9-8 seasons for the Saints. Good 9-8, bad 9-8.
For what they are, I guess it's a good 9-8. But I honestly think that after this year, they really need to look at this team and really start to, maybe retool and kind of change things up because for what they have, they can't continue to ride this group of guys for the next 2-3 years. It's not going to work.
And how do you apply the margin of error to this? +2, -2 off of 9-8.
I said if they win 11 games, they're dang impressive. If they pull out 11 games, then okay, hey, you know what? Here's your flowers. I'm gonna grind my teeth as I hand them to you, but and if you told me they only won 7 games, okay, then the downfall is a lot sooner than expected.
It's 7 games your like gut instinct, like this is what this team really is, and in that range?
I think they're a 500 club. I do think they have enough talent for 500, but you can't sit there and tell me that, oh, wow, this is it. Derek Carr is going to turn it around, and here come the real Saints. Like I don't buy it because they don't have that talent. They're just not there anymore.
Well, the next topic is, of course, the one everyone wants to talk to, and that is rolling into the hype train into the ATL. So let's talk holistically right off the top.
Yes.
Realistically, maybe a 3-year window for Kirk. What's the bigger issue here? Kirk coming into this team or the rest of this team standing up to Kirk's body of work in his career up to this point? Because, again, we have a lot of talent. Pitts, London, Bijan, all insanely talented players, but either misused, injured, whatever the case may be. So what's the biggest detractor? Is it Kirk going into the team or is the team meeting Kirk's standard?
Oh, it's Kirk coming in. Like he needs to perform. Like they hyped this to no end. Like when he came in, hold on, excuse me. Ooh, thought I had a sneeze right there. Sorry. When Kirk came in, it was, now here we go. The Falcons are, going to win the division. Could be a deep playoff run team. There's all this, all this greatness and all this hype. And when that happens, 9 out of 10 times, it doesn't work out. Like he's got to come in. He's got to learn these guys. Yep, they're young. They're hungry. They want to win. But he's got to perform. He's got to perform. He's got to put up. And like I said, he had this type of talent close to it in Minnesota. And his playoff record speaks for itself. It wasn't great. So I can't sit here and be like, oh, wow, this is what Kirk needs. This is it. Now, if you told me you threw him into San Francisco, okay. But that's also because you've got an elite defense as well. So that kind of helps. Now, Falcons defense is solid. They've got some young guys. Their defense is definitely better than the Saints defense. So I'll give you that, but it's a thing of can they learn to win? Like that's what this is. It's a whole new culture. It's not like this is like a 5 or 6 year culture that's been, bred and this is what he's coming into. Like this is all new. You got rid of your head coach. You brought in Raheem Morris, who you think is the guy, which I'm kind of like, I don't know, but hey, all right, give the guy another shot. And then, like I said, Kirk needs to come in and he needs to perform. If they don't win at least 10, 12 games, then it's a disappointment.
Do you think, since we've already got a number of games scratched on here already, how close do you think they were to getting Bill to come in?
I think if this team was a couple years older, like a truly older team, like had already gone through the wars, playoff wars, and just needed that edge to win, then I could see you bringing in Bill to kind of do it. These guys are still young. I don't think his way of coaching would have worked. I really don't, because with those Patriot teams, there weren't a lot of young guys. Like there were young guys, but they had to earn their way onto the squad. It was pretty much always an older team, and those guys were able to take what Bill gave to them and just turn the other cheek because they wanted to win rings.
So to start off, we have the Falcons, the Kirk Cousins era, getting off to a rough start, taking it on the chin at home to the Steelers, and then coming back.
Yeah, we did.
And then coming back in a big way with some extra rest on the road, pulling the dub off in Philadelphia. So
yeah, what?
Keystone split.
Yeah, hey, you go 1-1. There you go, Falcons fans.
Big measuring stick next at home on Sunday night against the Chiefs.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'll give this to the Chiefs.
Well, that is a very rough start for the Kirk Cousins era, because that equals 1-4 because you haven't taken the first Saints L and the first Tampa L.
It's a long season, though. Like I said, they've got to get used to each other. It's not like they're going to, go off running off 10 straight wins.
Yeah. Continuity seems to be
exactly.
First Panthers game, I guess a little extra rest being that we're coming off a Thursday nighter. This one's on the road in Charlotte.
And they'll win.
Must be a good sign for the Falcons to have a back-to-back win with a home game against the Seahawks, taking the second L to the Bucs, taking an L at home to the Cowboys, and then taking the dub on the road against the Saints. One game before the bye week, they are going out to Mile High.
Yeah, give them the win. Like the Broncos are going to be bad this year, man. They're this year's Panthers. Like the Panthers, I think are going to have a better record than they will. Like I just don't like them at all.
And one more time, no Ben yet.
We hope for Ben early, but no, I don't think it's going to be a Ben yet. No Ben DiNucci.
So how do you feel about the hype train? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Same record as the Saints going into the same bye week. I found it interesting that this entire division's byes are either week 11 or week 12.
Yeah, that was kind of sketchy, but it is what it is. It's better than having it week 4.
Yes, that's true.
So 5 and 6. Okay. Like I said, I don't think they're going to get blown out in their losses, but I think it's one of those things where they're learning each other, and the second half is where, they'll probably pick up some steam.
How do you compare that 5 and 6 to the Saints 5 and 6?
I think they'll be a more competitive 5 and 6.
So you think the Saints will stumble into that record versus the Saints? It's like, dumb luck loss here and there.
Yeah.
Out of the bye, we have 3 games we haven't picked. First one is at home against Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers.
I think Jim has a bad year against the NFC South. I'm picking the Falcons.
I guess so.
I'm picking the Falcons.
Maybe you just think Jim Harbaugh has a bad year.
No one told you to leave Michigan, buddy. No one told you to leave Michigan. Should have stayed where the money's at.
Well, who knows what that would have been like this year.
True.
He could have seen the sideline twice.
And they still probably would have made the playoff.
Yeah, that's true. On the road in Minnesota, Kirk's homecoming. What you got here?
Wow. Yep. They take Minnesota out. Kirk goes in and wins and, sits there and cries, "Oh, I loved it here, but I had to leave." Gives some mumbo jumbo speech. No one cares.
Do you miss me?
Yeah, exactly. Could be in the beginning of the JJ McCarthy era.
Can you imagine if that was either his first game or the game that, by this point in the season, if they were holding out on JJ, that means the season for the Vikings has been pretty dismal.
Sam Darnold, here we go.
Next one up, it's a road game, but it's a Monday nighter, so they got some extra rest. They're going out to Vegas.
They handle Vegas.
so you give the hype train a little bit. You give them the hype train a little bit.
I didn't say they were crap. I said they were horrible. They're just not Tampa good.
That being said, a slip up here at home to the Giants.
See, there you go. That's where you got to watch. You get all hyped up, and these young kids, they got Kurt wearing the chains out on the. They probably got him wearing new chains with no shirt on, running around Atlanta, and here we go.
Come back with a win on the road against Washington, and then closing out the season at home finale against the Panthers. Sweep.
I think the Panthers are getting better, but I don't think they're getting that much better. I'm gonna call the sweep on this one as well.
All righty. It's all right. Falcons, what we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10-7. So here's
That's a great record. Good job, Atlanta. Good job. Good job. Everyone thought I was gonna have them like 7-10. See that? Respect.
I think you thought you had it. We're gonna have them at 7-10.
I was gonna try to get them at 5-12 personally, but I guess I wasn't right. But no, I think 10-7 is legit. First year, if Kurt's healthy and such, I just feel that they still have a year or so to really get it together. I think 10-7 is good.
And with the margin of error here, +2, -2, what do you think?
Could be 12. But at that point, that could be 2 more for Tampa, and it could be 14. You see, it's just not Atlanta's year.
Oh, now you like the Tampa 14. Before you were like, oh no, don't give me that juju.
You take it when you have to. But no, I think they're a 10-win team, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, it's probably still a wild card. I mean, the bottom of the NFC is kind of.
You see, but here's the problem. We talked about the NFC being bad last year, and look what happened. The AFC screwed the pooch.
Yeah, well, the AFC had a lot of things going against them in doing that.
You know what? It's because Aaron Rodgers came to the AFC. If Aaron Rodgers had stayed in the NFC, that would have been fine, no problem. But once he jumped ship, there it was. Bad juju.
Hey, you know what? That's a little ding because I guess you can interpret that as not everyone jumps ship like number 12.
That's right, Go. Yes.
Peyton never tested those waters. He stayed in the AFC.
No, he stayed in the AFC, man. Imagine if he had gone to the NFC. You know what? It would have been crazy to see him in like in a Bears uniform.
Oh, God. Go, perish the thought.
Yeah,
Midwestern betrayal.
True. Or he goes to like the Jets, right? And they could have won a title.
No, that would be worse. I'd rather see him in a Bears uniform.
True.
Because at least if we went to the Bears, like, okay, well, we beat them in the Super Bowl, so still got that. You may have 18, but we still have a trophy.
What it could have been, where he could have went. That's interesting. Interesting thought.
All right, so we'll rip through the lowly Panthers real quick, I suppose. And we already have them pegged at more wins than last year.
See, we treat these teams fairly. Like, I don't want anyone out there saying, "Oh, you guys aren't right. You guys are, being mean." No, we're fair.
That is 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3 and 9.
What, one win better?
Yeah. So far, we still got a few games we haven't picked yet.
Oh, that's right. Here we go.
So off the upset win week 1 at the Saints, then we have their home opener against the Chargers. How bad do you think, Jim?
They're not that bad. They're beating the Panthers. They're not that bad. They're not that bad. The Chargers got to beat one team in this division. It's got to be the Panthers.
Yes.
It'll be close. It'll be a close one, I think. But yeah,
on the road, heading out to Vegas. What you got?
Oh, the Raiders are handling business.
1 and 4 heading into a road game in Caleb Williams. What could have been? Obviously, they sent him the draft pick.
Ooh. See, this is another team where everyone's like, "Oh man, the Bears could make the playoffs." Caleb. I'm gonna take the Bears, but I want to put a little asterisk next to it. I could see the Panthers pulling something because Caleb's gonna be good, but I just don't think first year great. But I'll give the Bears this one.
I'll mark the asterisk. Hopefully, in 6 months, you can remember what it meant.
Yeah. Well, if you just tell me it, I'll be like, oh, I remember that.
That's right. You're better at recollection than I am.
I got you.
All right. Taking the L at home to the Falcons, taking the L on the road to Washington, on the road again in Mile High.
Go ahead, Young. Work your magic. They're beating the Broncos. The Broncos are hideous. Come on.
Like you said, the Broncos are going to be this year's Panthers.
Yeah. See? So when we get there, they may not even get 2 wins.
The best part will be finding out whether Sean Payton takes a quarterback, even though he just did take a quarterback. All right. Next up, we got a loss at home to the Saints. We got a win in Deutschland over the Giants. Heading into the bye, 3-7. 3-7. That's not the worst. Going to the bye for the Panthers.
I think there's growth. I think there's growth on this team. I think there's a lot of stuff. Like I said, they picked some pieces up that were good. I just think it's going to take another year or so for it to really come together. But 3, I'll take it.
Not the best way to come out of the bye, hosting the champs.
Yep, sucks to be you, boss. Sucks to be you.
Would be the first of 4 straight losses. Home Bucs.
Unless hold on. Unless a perfect storm happens and Taylor and Travis break up, and then the Panthers can steal a win.
Oh,
that's how they steal the win. But continue on.
Week 12. Well, what is that? Second weekend in November, maybe?
Yeah, I believe so.
Thanksgiving dinner's gonna have some awkward conversation.
It's like, oh God.
Loss at home to Tampa, loss on the road to Philly, loss at home to Dallas, a win over the Cardinals, and then closing out the season. Oddly enough, this is their home finale with 2 games still to go. And then losses on the road to Tampa and the Falcons. That is 4-13. Hey, they doubled their win total.
See, you guys are getting better.
Next year's 6.
Next year, you could be taking the Saints spot in the division. Congratulations.
Maybe they won't jack up their season tickets after a nonsense franchise tag to a player they immediately trade a week later.
Yeah, they'll just charge them maybe an extra 50 cents for a beer. I think that's fair. It's fair. I could see that.
Oh, we'd have to bring up that list to see where all the NFL stadiums rank as far as price of beer is concerned.
True. Yeah, you got to make money somewhere.
So, all right. So let's rip through the final count. Bucs champs at 12-5, Falcons 10-7, Saints 9-8, and then Panthers down in the basement at 4-13. Feel good, feel right.
This might be the best division I've picked so far this year. No, I do. I feel solid. I was respectful to the Falcons. Because the way that I've talked about them, leading up to this, you would have thought I would have gave them 5 wins and said kick rocks, but no.
It took a lot for you to do.
It did. I had to be very objective, and that's what I am. I'm an objective journalist here.
Yes.
So no, I think it's fine. And like I said, with the ±2, things could change. But I think the Bucs and the Falcons out of this division have the best chance to make the playoffs. I think the Saints are on the downslide, and it's time to move on. And in a couple of years, the Panthers could, should be a legitimate team with the pieces they've got.
I like it. Well, that's the NFC South, and given my apparel, I'll drop the link in the comments below. If you want some Reaper apparel swag, click the link and use code Nutmeg10 for a little discount at checkout. Bucs McGee, it's your home turf. You give the final word every show anyway, but now you get the real final word because
now I get a little extra.
Yeah.
A little extra. Well, guys, here we go. NFC South. If you doubt Baker again this year, you're going to be sorely disappointed. The Baker man's going to do what he does along with Mike Evans. 12 wins. It's looking pretty solid this year. Falcons, give you guys your respect. Saints, it's time to move on. Just get it right. Just tear it down, rebuild it. And Panthers, you guys are starting to show a little life there. Could be interesting in another year or two. But it's another year of Bucs domination.